Hello, my dear friends. I'm Brother Sean, and I've been guided to share with you a heart reflection about the meaning of selfish, selfless, and selfless, and selfist. And I'm guided to invite you to respond in your heart, truthfully. What do you understand by the word selfish in the spiritual life? Are you selfish, selfless, or selfist? Well, I believe that today, in this exciting time, as we prepare for the coming of the cosmic Christ, we are being guided, or rather, we are being encouraged, motivated even, to shed layers that hinder us. And the word selfish isn't a word that really best defines or describes how a spiritual person should be. And the word selfless is a word that does resonate because we are guided to think of others above ourselves. But I would prefer to use the word selfist, which is 50% selfish and 50% selfless. Because I believe, and again this is based on a lifetime of caring for others, both as a nursing monk, as a nurse in palliative care, and then learning to care for myself when I became very ill 16 years ago, when my best friend died, and through a prescribed antidepressant, it introduced me to mental illness. And I guess I was being cared for by God in a very loving way, but I was also made aware that I had to become selfist. In other words, protect what I'd been given, to nurture what I'd been given, and only to give after I had received. In other words, physician, heal thyself first before attempting to heal another. Only last evening, in the early hours this morning, I was in prayer and I was guided to email the members of our international interspiritual community on Heart to Soul, where at the moment we have 118 beautiful members. But what is so distressing and disheartening is that I guess that many of us are overwhelmed by what's happening in the world. The tragedies, the sadness, man's inhumanity to man. And I guess many are engaging more with their own personal struggles and trying to make ends meet and trying to survive in this rat race. But hey, if we use the word I am spiritual, then we have to take responsibility for what that implies. And that means letting go of self. And it means responding and listening to what Gaia, our loving Father, Mother God, is asking of our hearts. So I was guided to send an email out to all our members, challenging them, inviting them, nurturing hopefully. But I know that before I did it, I prayed for guidance, but instantly I could feel in my head center my ego saying, don't do it. They'll immediately reject you, they'll dislike you, they'll probably start moaning about you. But then in my heart I got a strong desire to do it, because A, it was for my highest good and the good of those who are members of our community. Members who came on board to share their love and their skill and support and nurture like-minded brothers and sisters on the spiritual path. Unlike Facebook, where many people can spend hours chatting to their friends, this is very different. And then I was guided to reflect on afterwards some of the feedback I'd received, which was very positive, where members were saying that they do contact members, but sadly they're not responding. And that leaves the one who's asking for help or support, what have I done wrong? And that I find quite distasteful and disheartening for a being of light to respond in such a negative way. But then I was given a wonderful example, and the example was Jesus in the temple. Now, for those of you who know the story, great. For those who don't, I'll give you a brief synopsis. In the temple courtyard, there were sellers, totally disregarding the sanctity of the courtyard leading into the temple. They had what we would call a mind-body-spirit event, and also coupled with a weekend market, selling this, that, and a lot of bric-and-brac. And they had no respect whatsoever. And their voices were loud and audible. And Jesus came and he was appalled, and he looked at the sacred entrance to his Father's temple, to his Father's house. And he was incensed, as I was, when I'd been reading emails from some of our committed members on Heart to Soul and in the Teo community who were saying, why are they not interested? Why are they not responding? Why aren't they supporting one another? Well, Jesus kicked ass, as the Americans would say. He let them have it. He went into a mad frenzy. He threw tables over. He got people by the scruff of their neck and he threw them out. And he encountered nothing but verbal diarrhea. But he didn't care, because they were desecrating what he represented, love. And I guess that is society today. And the example from Jesus in the temple was what motivated me in my heart to protect what Gaia had instructed me to do last year, to set up Heart to Soul prayer partners for peace and empower others to become selfist, to protect what they've been given, to nurture it. And once they're in a place of balance where there is harmony and divine connectedness, then come to their brothers and sisters and support them empathically, lovingly, as a spiritual brother and sister. And the same in the Teo community of St. Francis. Though many came, when they got what they wanted, they scarpered. And I guess people are saying to me, but that's life. But it shouldn't be. If we are in service to the Supreme, we shouldn't adopt those worldly values or allow them come into God's space and destroy the vision from Gaia, from Francis, and from Source, the Supreme, for God's people. And I guess my experience as a nursing monk in the monastery, there was always a wonderful core group of monks who were so committed, but they burnt out. Like when I was nursing, running a busy medical ward. There was always what I called the takers. They were very good at whinging and moaning, oh, so-and-so's doing so-and-so. But when it came to them using their initiative, they would sit on the wings and wait for people to attend to their needs. They're what I call takers. And I've seen it. And it is discouraging. And you see it in the church. You see it in religion. You see those who give and those who take. But today in the spiritual life, there can be no maneuverability for takers. Because all we're doing is carrying, forgive the pun, dead wood. Well, Gaia has a remedy for dead wood. Burn it. Jesus, the barefoot Galilean, incarnating as the cosmic Christ, takes no prisoners. And we have to be strong and recognize the 3 S's: selfish, selfless, selfist. Selfless, yes, but we need to incorporate a bit of selfishness in that to protect what we've been given, so that in being selfist, we are firstly caring for the divine within us and respecting what we've been given. And then, when we are grounded and protected, then we can share lovingly.